Hi everyone. Today it's Irvin here again, back with another Founder Fables interview series. Today we have a very special guest. Very interesting because he's actually a very well-respected lawyer in Singapore, right? He's a fellow with the Singapore Institute of Arbitrators, and has many awards, and also I believe he's also author of the book Intellectual Property. So, without further ado, I'd like to bring on my special guest and get him to introduce himself.
Hi, Arvin.
Hi.
Thank you for having me here with you today, and for that very kind introduction as well. Um, I am happy to take any questions you might have about this entrepreneurship journey that I've been on. Happy to share whatever mistakes that we've made, so that others won't have to make the same mistakes, perhaps. In
Wow.
traveling down this path. It's been a long journey, and at the same time, we have to say that the journey is not yet anywhere near complete. There's a lot more to go, I would think, in this entrepreneurship journey, and there's a lot more to learn as well.
Wow, I
Yeah.
love it, man. Yeah. So, what exactly, like, what kind of business did you start? Maybe you could walk us through that. Like, yeah.
Okay. Well, when I was a young lawyer, obviously I'm no longer young, as you can tell.
Age is just a number.
Age is just a number. I like that. I like that. I like to constantly remind myself that when I stare at myself in the mirror. Age is just a number. Um, I I would say that well, one of the areas that I focus on, so-called specialist areas, intellectual property. And in that journey, in dealing with clients who have intellectual property issues, um, a lot of them, of course, come up with an idea or have a new product, a novel product, something that they would like to patent, they would like to protect. And many of these clients are at the beginning of their journey into entrepreneurship, right? A lot of them could be startups, could be spin-offs from universities, research institutions, and so forth. So we dealt a lot with them. And I guess that sort of maybe planted a seed in me as well as to thinking that, what do I want to do in terms of a legal career going forward? And I guess, seeing all these young entrepreneurs setting off on their journey into, setting up businesses that go on to succeed, you think that, well, maybe if they can do it, I can do it too. And that's what
Wow.
that led me on this path. And Gateway, we've been around for, we're coming to 20 years now, so it's been a while. Um,
Yeah.
it's been an interesting journey so far. We've moved offices a few times. Thankfully, each time getting bigger and having more people, so that's good news, I guess.
Yeah. So you guys specialize in intellectual property law, like
Yeah.
protecting the like what these founders create, especially like you see the university or patents, this kind of stuff. The trademark, is it? It's kind of the same thing, like protect their data.
Well, trademarks and patents are not the same thing,
Oh,
but
different thing.
but they are both forms of intellectual property. So they are things that basically, if you are, a new business owner, if you're a technopreneur, you would probably have come up with something novel, something unique, and you would want to protect your IP as you start on your business. Because one of the easiest ways for a business to die is to not protect its IP, right?
Hmm.
Then once you become successful, anybody else can just come in and copy your idea. So, and then you are very quickly the competitors will come in. And in this day and age, of course, it's they we are most of the time operating in a very global market these days. And
Hmm.
once you have a good idea, people see your idea and they are very likely to copy it, right? I mean, we have all kinds of examples from small businesses to large businesses.
Yes.
They're all being copied. Yeah.
And do you guys serve clients like overseas? You talk about global, right? So do you guys also like have offices overseas, or do you serve clients overseas, or is it mostly companies in Singapore, like SMEs,
No,
MNCs?
actually, not at all. Actually, a lot of our clients are from overseas.
Okay.
We help them with their IP needs or their legal needs as they expand into the region. Very often, if they're coming to Asia, Singapore is like one of the natural launching points. They would like to come to Singapore and set up first. I think we are blessed by the fact that we have got good, we are a good hub for things, for companies to
Yeah, definitely.
operate, to start up. We are a good transport hub. We have good links. Our great airline, Singapore Airlines, is able to link most businesses to any part of the world easily, right? And we've got great shipping routes that come past Singapore as well. So I think we are blessed in that sense. And as a result, businesses also come to Singapore, as our first port of call, they will come here. Singapore has a great future ahead of it. And the only one who can get in the way of that great future is actually ourselves, if we don't
Oh,
have
that's so deep, but yeah, that's so true,
yeah.
man. Oh, that's so very deep. I love it.
Yeah.
That's so philosophical.
Yeah, that's
Understand.
right.
Cool. So what, like, take us through like your backstory. I'm sure you mentioned you still have a long journey, but like why back in time, right? Like what is your backstory and how did you like come up with the idea? I understand, like you said, you saw these entrepreneurs that inspired, but what exactly, like at that point in time, how did it happen? How did it all like start?
Right. I think also, when I was a young lawyer, I was probably going through a lot of similar things that many young lawyers go through even today, which is they are faced with long hours, they are working very hard for their clients, and and then after a while, maybe you're spending every hour of every day in the office working, and then you're wondering, like, what is it all for? Where am I going with this?
Is it true what they say about like lawyers at the start? They say they have to work 12 to 14-hour days, even on the weekends. Like, is that actually true? Like,
I think for many lawyers it's true. It's not
oh
doesn't
wow.
apply to everybody. For many young lawyers that could very well be the case. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's very, very stressed. Like it's like a doctor, right? Like those doctors they have to in the
Yes.
hospital night shift. Similar.
Similar. It's similar. I
Wow.
mean, if you want to be a good lawyer eventually, you just have to put in the hours. There's no shortcut to that process of learning as much as you can learn in those few years that will stand you, in good state later on as your career progresses. Yeah.
Very true. So what's like the backstory of
So,
Gateway Corporation?
so the backstory is basically when I decided that there must be something, different that we could do. Uh, of course, I leveraged on the fact that we had a lot of expertise in IP protection, intellectual property protection. We were quite a known name. Our reputation was there. So, I just basically leveraged on that to branch off and start my own thing, trying to help as many clients along the way as we can, and at the same time building a firm that's comprised of friends, I think as well. I think what is important is that within Gateway Law, we not only work hard together, but we also like to think that we can play hard together and do things together like social events, um, eating. I think in Singaporean ways, we like to eat a lot.
Foodie, right? Everybody loves to eat.
That's right. So a
Yeah.
lot of things revolve around eating, finding new places to eat, sharing.
100% is like what
Yeah,
I do all the time with my family. Like, because
that's
they
right.
always say there isn't much to do in Singapore other than finding places to eat.
That's right. That's right. We always find places to eat, or when we went on a firm trip last time, we went to Bangkok, and of course, we went
Oh,
look for places to eat together as well. So we do a lot of these things. I think it's important to because you spend so many hours in the office. I think some of us may spend even more hours in the office than we do at home. So basically, your colleagues are really
oh,
your second
yeah,
family, right? They are really your
yeah.
second family. So I think we like to or rather, I like to create an environment in Gateway that is like a family-like environment. I always try to remind everyone that we are actually sort of we are your family away from home, right? Your second family, basically.
That's really nice.
So,
I like the way you put it, man. Family. Yeah, not everybody thinks like that for sure. I think the culture is very important. But in summary, you mentioned so the backstory was back then as a young lawyer, you were working for another firm that specialized in IP, and eventually you saw an opportunity to do things yourself, right? Because you said you were inspired by all the startup founders, and you thought, why not? Maybe I also can be an entrepreneur, launch my own law firm.
Mm,
Yeah,
that's
and
right.
you just took off from there.
Yeah, we just took off from there and we just grew from there. Through word of mouth, through referrals, friends and clients were kind enough to, continue to refer work back to us. Yeah.
And how many years did you like after you graduated from like law school and then you started working? Like how many years did you work before you decided to embark on your own? Like some people might be also wondering about that.
Right. I think I took almost 10 years. Yeah, it was almost a
10
decade.
years. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, almost
For the same company.
for the same company. I'm not a job
Oh.
hopper. I think unlike today's.
Yeah, today everyone is like 2, 3 years, like they say you have to change jobs, right? I don't know, that's what people
That's
say.
right. Yeah, some
Yeah.
people work, 6 months, 1 year, and they
6 months, yeah. This one, 10 years, this is the grandmaster.
Yeah. So I've only ever been in 2 jobs my whole life. Yeah, my
Oh.
previous company and now my current company. Yeah, that's it.
Oh. And both is IP, right? They're very niche also, I
Um,
realize.
that's right. That's right. They're very niche. I mean, my previous job, I was very niche. I was becoming very niche, and in my current job as well, most people know me as an IP lawyer. Although, of course, I do other areas of law now. I focus more on IP litigation, for example. We're handling quite a few IP litigation cases in the courts and all that. So I think we are very grateful that our clients continue to give us this trust. Yeah.
Hmm, understand. And how would you say, like, how was life growing up for you? Like, did you come from a family background with like a lot of lawyers at home or a lot of money to begin with?
No, not at all. Quite the
Oh,
contrary. I think I'm the first lawyer in the family.
oh, okay.
There's yeah, there was
It's very
no
surprising, yeah.
one. Yeah, I come from very humble roots, humble background. So nothing at all.
Mm.
Basically, I was fortunate enough to be given a scholarship to study, and then just took care. Otherwise, I'm not sure that my parents would even have been able to afford it. Yeah, so yeah.
And what were your parents like working as? Were they like entrepreneurs or were they like just maybe they were working a job, like childhood
No,
wise?
they were salary people. That's it. Yeah, yeah.
And growing up, like did you always thought that you would become a lawyer? Like from young you knew you had a passion for it, or did it just happen at that moment in time?
I can't say for sure that I knew for a fact that when you asked me when I was like 5 or 10 years old whether I wanted to be a lawyer. No, I don't think
Maybe like 16, secondary
that.
school.
Maybe it was more of a process of elimination, I think. Like, what else could I do?
Elimination.
Did I
So
want to be a engineer? No, then I said no, I don't think I
elimination.
want to be an engineer.
Doctor, no, no, no.
Doctor was an option, but then I didn't do biology, and at that point in time, you needed biology to become a doctor. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So the options just narrowed for me. As you get older, you have to make choices. Whether you study science, you study arts, what do you do? Yeah.
Yeah, understand. Okay. So when you started the Gateway Corporation, a law firm, right?
Mhm.
Were you all in onto this business? Like you completely left the job, or did you like started to get clients even while you were still employed in the previous job?
Oh no, for sure not. I When I quit my first job, I basically took a break. I went off,
Oh, okay.
did a little bit of soul searching. I think I took off for
Soul
three,
searching
3 weeks, 4 weeks. That was the first real holiday break that I ever took in my life.
in 10 years.
In almost 10 years. Yeah,
Like you never taken a break for
of
as
course
long
you
as three
take a
weeks.
break, a couple of days here for Chinese
Yeah.
New Year and things like that. But never a long, long break. Yeah, so that was the first time I
Hmm.
was really able to unplug from everything, right? And just totally, uh, go for long walks, treks, finding myself kind of thing,
Where,
explore
where, where, where did you go? Like, just
the.
curious.
Well, I went to Sri Lanka, would you believe it, of all places?
Why,
Yeah.
why, why Sri Lanka? What is that?
Um, yeah, I was asking myself the same question. Why? It's just one of those places where, it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg to spend. It's not so expensive. And at the same time, it has a lot of great scenery and outdoors. Yeah. Um, it was interesting. Yeah.
Hmm. And what did you find after that trip? You said you found yourself. So what was the conclusion that after Sri Lanka, the long walk, what did you realize?
Well, well, I said I went to search for myself, to look for myself, but I didn't say that I actually found anything.
Ah, okay, okay. So it was more of a just a relaxed, holiday,
Yeah, yeah.
enjoy.
But there is a place that is called Horton's Plains. It's you got to trek like a couple of hours to get to this very high place in Sri Lanka in the hill area. And Sri Lanka being a former British colony like Singapore, one of the things that they had a lot of was tea. You might have heard of
Yeah.
Ceylon tea.
The textbook you
Ceylon
said,
tea.
I remember the social studies textbook.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So they have a lot of tea there.
Yes.
The British love to grow tea wherever they went for
Yes.
their afternoon cup of tea. So there was a place, and there's a like a little stone bench on top of a very high plains, looking down into the area below, and I still remember to this day, it was called Lipton's Seat. So Lipton as in Lipton tea brand.
Yeah.
So,
Little tea.
there was a gentleman then called Lipton, and that was where, probably overseeing his great tea plantation and his great fortune, he would sit on the top of a mountain and
Huh.
look down across everything, and maybe he was telling himself, "Oh, this is all my land. This is everything I own. Everything belongs to me, my empire."
Yeah.
It's called Lipton's Seat, and I thought it was quite, of course, once you climb to the top of a mountain or a hill, right, you'll always sit down and survey the area.
Take
And then
it in, right? Really like take
I
in the
was sitting there
scenery.
and, on Lipton's seat, and of course I wasn't Lipton myself. He was probably Sir Lipton or something. But it was a very nice view though. Yeah. But no, I did not have a eureka moment. I did not like, oh wow, okay, this is great. Maybe I was having a moment that I said, oh no, what have I done? I've quit my steady job and now I don't have a job.
Wow. Well, I mean, at least you're very honest about it. Uh,
Yeah.
got it, got it. So from that, right, walk us through like how did you eventually come to launch the business? Like how did it all kickstart? Like, how did you guys land that first customer? Since it's like also you mentioned the first time you actually left a job and start your first business. Like, I'm sure it
Mhm.
was not easy. Like how was it like in the beginnings?
Well, I think that when you are first starting out, I mean, when I set up my office, when I first set up, it was very small. It was just me, myself, four walls, a few workstations, empty workstations. And you think that hopefully I'll be able to fill it up with people eventually, which of course eventually I did. And then you reach out to all your friends, to all your contacts, and it is, I guess, at that point in time as well that you sort of start to know who are your friends and who are the ones that really, are going to support you when the time comes, right? But it's quite enlightening for me. I mean, there were some clients, for example, whom I slaved away to serve them 24/7, working on weekends and all that. And when the time came and you thought that maybe they will support you when you set up on your own,
Yeah.
they didn't, or at
Huh.
least not straight away, right? So, sometimes clients like that, they take a while before they want to see whether you're going to sink or swim, right? It's like maybe your business might not last more than 6 months, a year. So I'm not going to give you my business yet.
Yeah.
I know for sure that you're going to be a ongoing, um, ongoing concern that's not going to sink just like that. So
Yeah,
some
that's
it
that's
will take
tough,
a
man. Yeah.
yeah, it'll take a while to yeah. I think it's quite true what they say that the first 3 years of a business is what's going to determine whether you're going to make it or not. If you can make it past the first 3 years, then there's a high likelihood that you might make it in the long term. Yeah, and I guess
Gotcha.
that's quite true as well. Um,
So how long did it take for you to land that first customer? Since you mentioned that clients wouldn't even those that you work so hard for 24/7, they wouldn't give you that business. how did you land that first customer, and like how long did that take
Oh,
to hit that
it
breakpoint?
was quite soon. It was quite soon after.
Oh,
Otherwise,
okay.
I wouldn't have been able to keep the lights on, make sure the rents are paid.
Yeah.
It was quite soon. And then thankfully there were clients, and some of them you didn't think that it would follow you, but actually they do. So quite grateful for that. Yeah.
Okay. So it came from, I guess, your existing network. Some of them actually did support you when you
Yeah.
launched.
Yes, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
And in terms of like a timeline, how long would you say that was? Like 1 month, or like first week you really, like once you left, you tell them, hey, I'm starting to join. How fast was
Um,
that?
yeah, I think so. Because I think that once word got out that I was leaving and setting up my own, clients do eventually, the potential clients or friends do eventually reach out and look for you. And in fact, some of them I had to say like, no, no, some of them asked me, what are you going to do, right? And I told them, I'm going to take a break first. So come and look for me again in a month's time after I'm back, but not now. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Got it. Was it like what kind of company was it like? Do you still remember like your very first client? Was it like a startup, or was it like a friend,
Oh,
or like a big company, or
uh, wow. To be very honest, I don't remember.
okay, it's fine. Yeah, I mean so long ago, right? Come on, I mean, yeah, 20 years.
I yeah, if I dig back into the records, maybe I can find it out still, but I mm, don't remember offhand. Yeah.
Got it. And since that period, after you launch, after you start to get some traction, right? Things start to go up. What do you find actually work the best when it comes to actually attracting more customers and also like retaining that business over the years?
I think it's important that you build trust with your clients and your customers, and you can show the value that you bring to their lives, to their business. And from there, once you have done that, then I think that it sort of just continues, it perpetuates itself after that. Because if they're happy with you, with what you've done for them, if they're happy with how responsive you've been, then they will refer on their friends and other businesses to you. And we have actually just grown in this
Yeah.
uh, simple way of word of mouth and referrals and all that. And of course, along the way, we pick up some accolades, right? Like
Yeah.
best law firm 2024 or something like that. Like I think recently we were also listed. The Straits Times carried out some survey of the best law firms in Singapore.
Wow.
We were happy to be listed there, amongst a select group of law firms. So we're quite happy with all these things that we pick up along the way. But these accolades and awards are really not, at the end of the day, I think I'm much more thankful when a client actually expresses their appreciation to you in whichever way. Sometimes it's very small things, they can buy you a basket of fruits, for example, to thank you for what you've done for them. I think it's these things that really make your day, and you're happy to continue to serve them, and you see that the work you do actually helps them in their daily lives. I think that's quite fulfilling in itself.
Oh, I like the way you say it. You can tell like there's so much like passion in it. You really love the work that you do. And I also find like a lot of the entrepreneurs that I interviewed, the really successful ones are usually those that are the most passionate about, like you said, about what they do, serving the clients. And I
Mm,
think the clients really can feel that, so it's very genuine. And in return, they get even more business, right? Like you said, you refer more clients.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And apart from referrals, has anything else worked in terms of like marketing? I'm not sure. Do you guys run paid advertising, or you do SEO, or you do attend trade shows, things like that?
Ah, I've tried all of these things from time to time. You try a little bit here, you try a
For
little
sure.
bit there, and then you just want to see whether it works or it doesn't work. What works, what doesn't work, right? I think there's no formula that applies to all businesses. I think you basically have to know what works for you and what doesn't work for you. For example, I mean, you could try SEO, but again, that's usually just a temporary thing. The people you pay to get you to the first page of any search results,
Yeah.
but you've got to continue doing it, right? The moment you stop it, then
Correct.
you slide down the list again and all that. So everything comes with a sort of a cost. for it. Yeah.
Mm.
So
Have you guys in the past considered like outsourcing this to an agency or somebody in-house, like train someone in-house, bring in an SEO marketer to get that
mm,
up?
yeah, we don't work that way because we have various offices. We have an office in Malaysia, we have an office in the Philippines and all that. So some of these tasks and these roles and jobs maybe we outsource but internally to one of our
Mm,
other officers to do. Yeah. So I think in that way, we we still leverage on our own people to do it. Yeah.
of course. And I guess it also works, right, when you have like your own internal training process. Like, do you have someone to train them up
Mm,
in-house
mm,
to
mm.
build
We
that up?
have a reporting system, so the junior ones when they come in, they're always there's a mentor and there's someone who's senior who will look after them and guide them along the process. And then as you get more and more senior, eventually you become a mentor to someone who's coming in as a junior for the first time as well.
Yeah, interesting, like a tiered system.
Yeah, it's a tiered system, right? And at the end of
Mm,
the day, I like to think that we are all, being as generous as we can with our time, because at the end of the day, all of us, we have a limited amount of time, right, that we can spend. Our time is constantly being put in many directions. We need time for our family, we need time for our work, we need time for our hobbies,
yeah.
we need time for holidays. So, we encourage all of us to be able to be as generous as we can with our time for each other, because after all, we're all family, right? We want to see ourselves as family. So you've got to make time for your own family. Yeah.
Okay. And in terms of like retention, like customer retention, because I guess is it for the law industry, clients usually pay by retainer? Is it like a monthly kind of thing? It's like a recurring service, or is it like a
Um,
one-time kind of thing?
there are again different models for different clients. So some might be on a fixed retainer basis, some might be on a temporary retainer, some might be on an ad hoc basis, on a meta basis. So again, there's no one formula for everybody because all clients are different. So we we try to find what works for a client and we accommodate where we can. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, customized based on what they need, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And when it comes to like retaining these clients, what do you guys has found to like work the best in terms of like continue to keep the business? Because I'm sure it's also not easy, like you said, like these
Mm,
clients can be very demanding as well.
I mean, there are clients that can be very demanding at the end of the day. And in this modern age of the internet and emails and WhatsApp, nowadays even emails may be too slow for you for people that are sending you text messages and expecting you to
Yeah.
reply straight away. Yeah. So I think we just always have to be available and to continue to be responsive. And at the end of the day, we can't, if we can't give a proper full response to a client at any particular point in time, I always tell my colleagues and my lawyers, well, just acknowledge their email or WhatsApp message or whatever. Says thank you very much. I'll get back to you soon. I think our clients really appreciate that when we are, at least responsive and we at least acknowledge the message. Yeah. Even a thumbs up acknowledgement is works.
Thumbs up.
Just that
Right.
people know that you read their message, right? And they are on it. Yeah.
Just being responsive, actually like just acknowledging them.
Yeah,
That's
that's
important. Okay.
right. I think that's
Um anything else on this?
I think that everyone who's on this journey, entrepreneurship journey, right, must appreciate that you are in for the long haul and you cannot expect overnight successes, right? So if you expect to like I'm coming in and within a year I'm going to know whether I'm going to make it or I'm not going to make it,
Mm,
I think you might be disappointed if that's the case because this journey can take many years,
yeah.
to travel. The road can be quite long, and I'm still traveling it. I still don't know what the future is going to hold.
No
5 years.
plans to retire. Like no, there's no like
Uh,
people say that, golden number, golden, I don't know.
I want to, but I think that I'm not done with this journey yet. Still have a bit of juice in the tank. Still have a bit of things that I think it can offer to clients, and I can things that I can hopefully teach my younger colleagues as well, and mentor my younger colleagues. Um, so I mean, as a lawyer, actually, one of the good things about this job, okay, depending on where you sit, it may be a good thing to some, it may not be a good thing to others, is the fact that you can continue to work for a long, long time. Unlike certain jobs, right? Especially, for example, if you're a sportsman, by the time
Yeah,
you're in your
sponsor.
30s, by the time you're in your 30s, I think you're done. That's
Yeah,
it.
you're done. Yeah.
You have to retire already.
I think just Ronaldo. Ronaldo is still going hard at
Yeah,
38, I think.
yeah, it's very rare for them to be
Very
able
rare, yeah.
to keep going on, right? So they have a very limited shelf life, and they have to make the most of it while they are, in that period of time. But the good thing about being a lawyer is that you have many lawyers who work on well into their 70s, 80s. I think I read one lawyer who's in his 90s and still maybe practicing
90s.
law. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not saying that we have to do that or I want to do that, but the option is there if you wanted to practice law, because ultimately at the end of the day you are relying on what's up here in your all the knowledge and wisdom and experience that you've stored over the years, and that's the useful part, and nobody can take that away from you as you
Mm.
when you are, so you I think for lawyers you retire when you want to, not because you're being pushed out of the job, like, right? I mean, like, unless a sportsman, you may want to continue playing, but after a while your body is going to give up on you, and nobody's going to want to hire your services anymore. even if
Yeah,
you
it's true.
even if you think you can do it, nobody's going to want to hire you. But I think as a lawyer, the good thing is that as long as you are still mentally all there, your clients will be happy to want, in fact, sometimes it works better for you. You have more white hairs. Uh, Clients may have more faith in you and say, oh, I think this guy, has got enough wisdom to handle my case well. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I think
So
the one job where having white hair is good for you.
I like that. That's
Yeah.
that's so interesting the way you
Yeah.
put it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so you mentioned it's very important when it comes to keeping business, like you said. I think you mentioned the long game. You said coming in with the mindset that you're here for a very long time, not one year in, 1 year out, right? That
Mm.
long term vision is very key because people also want someone that's with them for the long run.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Mm.
right. I mean,
And
it may not be the case for all industries, but certainly the case in my industry, I think. Yeah.
okay. And over the years, right, maybe you can share with us like what has been the toughest challenge you ever faced while running this business, and how did you overcome
Okay. I think, to be very honest, today in today's legal landscape, I think the toughest uh, issue facing most partners of law firms or founders of law firms, those people who are sitting in my position, the most difficult task we have is to mentor the younger generation and to convince them that there is a path for them and there is a career for them long term in this industry, and that they should stay the course. And I say this because, and I don't think it's any secret. Most law firm practitioners, senior practitioners
it?
probably agree with me. It is that it's a different generation, right? The younger generation want to explore things. They want to do different things, and they are very lucky because they have a lot of options as well, right? I
Yeah.
think that in my time, you're lucky just to have a job, a fixed job.
Oh,
Something,
actually, wow, that
yeah,
that that like
yeah. You're
wow,
lucky if somebody
you
wants
had a
to,
job.
yeah,
Huh.
fixed job. Yeah, that's right. So, whereas these days, I think I don't know whether you call them millennials or Gen Z or what is the appropriate term. Um,
Millennials, millennials.
they're
Not
all
Gen Z,
about,
I think. Yeah, not
yeah,
Gen
but
Z.
they're all about work-life
Uh,
balance and
Yeah, it's true. It's a big thing, right? The tech,
yeah,
work-life balance.
work-life
Yeah,
balance and
yeah.
not being and mental health, mental well-being, all that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
these are big
meditation.
issues for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's difficult, but we continue to try and um, see if we can build. Because ultimately, I think we have to try and keep as many of the young ones in the industry as we can. Because otherwise, there will be in 20, 30 years time, there'll be not enough people, lawyers with white hair, that can take over the next
Mm,
generation.
understand. So, what approaches do you guys have? Like, have you guys tried in terms of like trying to groom the young talent because of this difference in generation gap? Like what seems to help you guys to bridge that gap, to help them stay in for the long game?
I think it's a work in progress. I am always having a lot of coffee sessions and makan sessions with the young ones to try and continue to have this dialogue with them. Yeah. I mean, there are times where, they may leave for reasons which are, uh, you can't really say, no, don't go, right? They may want to explore what's out there for them. And sometimes, we have to encourage that as well because maybe there's really something better for them. But we also take the position, and this happens in our law practice as well, where we have um, lawyers and people who have left, gone out there, seen what is out there, and then decide to come back. And sometimes I think that's even better because
Like a completely different industry, like they left
uh,
to do something
yeah, it
else.
could be the same industry, could be
Mhm.
totally different, could be a different company, different industry, but they've gone to see what's out there, and then they come back again. And in that sense, I like these people because I don't have to convince them that
They come back
the
themselves.
grass is greener because you've gone to see the other side, right? Otherwise, you might always have this question, what if what am I missing out there? Yeah.
True. Yeah, that's so true. And
Mm.
and walk us through like how are you guys doing today as a company, and talking about the long game, right? Where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years?
Um, I would like to say I see myself as being retired or semi-retired in 5 to 10 years,
All
but then
right.
I may not have that luxury. So um, I think that in 5 to 10 years, I'm still going to be very much here. We might be having part two of this interview again then,
Oh,
and I'll be
it'll be
checking on
very
you.
interesting. 5 to 10 years later, yeah, part two interview.
Yeah, I'll be checking on you, Arvin, to see
Oh,
where
okay.
your business is
Oh, awesome.
at that point in time. Yeah.
Yeah. And in terms of like present day, like how would you say you guys are doing? Like a short 1, 2 sentence. Like,
Oh, I think present day we're doing fine. We are very blessed with what we have achieved so far, and I think that we just got to keep reminding ourselves that we should be thankful for what we have and not always thinking about what could be out there, Yeah. Because there are some lawyers and staff, of course, they're always not like, sometimes even if we lose a court case, for example, I always try to tell my lawyers, don't be discouraged or disappointed because there's always a silver lining, yeah, sometimes even if we win, but maybe we don't get enough damages for the clients wanted more, so you look at it as a loss. So, in a way, I like to think, are you a glass half full or half empty person, right? And I like to think that for me, I'm always the optimist. I like to think that the glass is half full, right? Not half empty. Yeah.
wow, I really like the way you say it. It's really wise. Yeah, yeah. It's really how you see things. Right, the event itself is neutral, but it's how we perceive the thing. Like what you
Yeah.
said. Mm. And and in terms of like, because you said in 5 to 10 years, you see yourself still working. Do you eventually see this expanding to even more countries? You mentioned you have like offices in Malaysia,
Mm.
Philippines. Do you see yourself expanding to like other parts of the world, like US or I don't know, Japan, Korea, Europe, or even like I don't know,
Um,
joining a group?
yeah, I think all these are possibilities.
Mm.
And you can never say that it'll never happen. There are all possibilities that may happen, and I think that it's the fact that there are all these possibilities that also make it exciting as
Yeah,
you continue on this
definitely.
journey. Yeah. Hmm.
Mm.
So, um, let's see what happens. Stay tuned for part two in 5 to 10 years
Let's
time.
go find this time. I love it, man. Okay,
Okay.
cool. So,
Yeah.
through starting this business, right, over the years, it's been a 20-year journey, super long. Not a lot of entrepreneurs definitely can even say that. Have you learned anything that's particularly helpful or advantageous? Like looking back, oh, if I knew this right now, I would have been way ahead in my career.
Mm, I I think that a very important thing that entrepreneurs must have is number one, you must have patience, right? You cannot be
Patience.
too impatient to get things done because things don't happen overnight sometimes. Uh, So given the current climate today, I think that people want things fast and need things happen fast. Um, you know, patience might not be easy to come by. Right? As to what, if you had known this 5, 10, 20 years ago, um, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, I think even if I knew, looking back, would I have done things differently? Maybe not, maybe not. Because I think it's whether you're going to travel this path is also dependent very much on what type of personality you are. Are you a bit of a risk
Mm.
taker? Are you a bit of do you have that itch that you need to scratch? It's different for everybody. And knowing myself for what I am, I think that I probably would still have done this regardless. Yeah.
Okay, so that's very interesting what you just said, because this is gonna bring me to my next question, right? Which is, do you think anybody can become an entrepreneur?
Uh, Unfortunately, I don't think so.
Mm.
I don't think that anybody can just become an entrepreneur just because they want to. There are so many factors that need to be considered before you take this leap of faith. And really, it's a leap of faith because you will never know for sure whether you're making the right decision or not. Yeah. So I think all entrepreneurs or would-be entrepreneurs have to think very hard about what it is that they're willing to sacrifice uh, for this, to go down this path, right? Um, some entrepreneurs may say, no, I'm just going to go into this, give it 2 or 3 years. If it doesn't work out, I'll go back to my day job. And then I
Yeah,
think if
very
you take
true.
that, yeah, if you take that attitude, more likely than not, you are going to go back to your day job.
Oh wow! Like the battle has already haven't before the battle start, you have already lost, right? Because of maybe the way the person thinks.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
that
scary
mindset.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
versus like maybe someone that, like you said, like yourself, is like playing the long game. Like I'll be here even 5 years, 10 years.
Mm,
I'm still here, man. I'm still
yeah.
one
I,
percent better every day. Right.
that's right. That's right. I mean, I do see that many entrepreneurs I've met, I do see that a lot of them have this stubborn streak in them. That means no matter how many times I fail or no matter how many times I get knocked down, I'm still going to get up and I'm still going to try, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
that is very rare today. To be, I feel today in today's culture, it's not common in maybe especially like young people, maybe my age. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
Hmm. Okay. Uh, and what kind of like platforms and tools do you guys use to run your day-to-day business? Do you have like any, like maybe for somebody that's running a law firm? Yeah, curious to know.
Well, I mean, we have a great IT service provider. I think you know
Oh,
that.
plug in. Let's go. Adrian,
So
let's plug in.
he provides us with all the IT tools we need, so that we're able to work from anywhere. I'm connected through my devices, through my many devices. In fact, in my office, you come to my office, you'll see I have like 2 or 3 screens open at any one time. Minimum, probably got more.
Wow.
And then I'm constantly receiving messages on every one of them. Or people messages. It's so easy to reach out to a lawyer these days. You have WhatsApp, you have email, you have Facebook, LinkedIn. There's just so
Mm.
many messaging platforms out there. So yeah, sometimes I guess the trick is how to cut through the noise. There's a lot of noise, there's a lot of distractions. So I think for the younger lawyers out there, it's they have to learn sometimes to be able to focus on the work at hand and to cut through all the noise, because it's very easy. You could just spend your whole day doing LinkedIn and Facebook and replying to messages and all that, and before you know it, the day is done and you haven't finished, say, that legal submissions or those court documents that you were supposed to work on. Yeah, it's quite easy.
Mm. And do you have any tools for young lawyers who want to like focus better or things like that?
um yeah, I think
Switch off the phone.
yes.
Switch
Cut
off.
off your internet connection. Maybe that's one way. Yeah.
Gotcha. Any specific like law software or tools that you guys use for your own client work day to day?
I think that there are actually a variety of IT solutions out there for many law firms to use. And I mean, we use all the usual ones, like Office 365 and all that.
Mm.
We use all these tools. We have our own server. It sits in its own air-conditioned room, things like
Wow.
in the office. So, we have all the standard tools, standard IT tools, and then some. So I think we're good in that sense. But I think that what is really more useful is how we have a very friendly atmosphere in the office. Yeah. And everybody is on very friendly terms with each other. So that makes it a lot easier. There's some places you go into where it's like a library, it's very cold and nobody talks to each other, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm always trying to encourage my lawyers and staff to go and talk to each other because the prevalent trend is to send everybody messages, right? And I am right. I will
Yeah.
send you a text message even though you're sitting just across the room from me. Instead of going
Yeah.
over, I'll send you messages. I was
Convenient.
like, yeah, why don't we just talk rather than just sending messages back and forth, back and forth. So if anybody in my office sends me a few messages, more than a few messages, I'll just like, I'm going to stop typing and I'm going to come across and just talk to you. Because otherwise you're going to, the art of conversation is lost these days. People don't
Yeah,
want to talk anymore. Yeah.
that's true. And what would you say is some of the most influential books or podcasts that maybe help you on this journey? Any kind of like books?
Oh, I actually read a lot of different types of books.
I can tell that. I can tell. Yeah.
So, I have books on politics, on diplomacy. Recently, I attended the book launch by Bilahari Kausikan about Singapore is not an island. Singapore is still not an island. He's equal. That deals with matters of foreign policy. What is Singapore's stance on, for example, the current war between Russia and Ukraine? uh, what should our position be, things like that. I find it all very interesting because we we don't live in a world isolated from everybody else. Singapore is a very connected country, so we by being so connected, we have to learn how to deal with all our connections as well. So just as
Yeah.
Singapore has a position in all these different relationships it has with all the different countries. I think it helps us to also informs us as to how we should also conduct ourselves vis-a-vis all the different people we meet in our lives, right? Yeah.
Totally, yeah, and especially like how small, how young Singapore is, not even 100 years old. We are always like we have to see how we build these great relationships with China and US. Like that day, my friend and I was just saying, do you think Singapore is siding China or the US? It's always like, oh, these two giants are fighting. Then my friend actually is like, actually we are siding both lah. I don't know what you think about that lah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right. Singapore is on nobody's side. Singapore
they
is on
can't
its
they
own
can't
side.
afford it,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, they can't afford
It's
it.
on its
Yeah.
own side, right? Whatever is in Singapore's interest, it will do. Yeah.
Hmm. And what would you say are like your top three favorite books on any topic? It
Oh,
can be on any topic.
um, top three favorite books.
Yeah,
Um, hmm, I don't know. I'm currently reading a book. Again, I'm late in the day. This book's on the recent 1MDB scandal has been out for a long time. It was called Billion Dollar Whale. I
Billion
was I
Dollar
was
Whale.
reading that and I'm still reading it actually because I got stopped halfway. and then uh, and then I've been watching a Netflix movie on it right now, and that's interesting. I've also been reading books about you know um, another book I recently picked up was one called Air Conditioned Nation by Cherian George. He's a
Air
Singapore author,
conditionation.
and yeah,
Huh.
his commentaries about the state of Singapore's civil society. Yeah, I've been reading that as well. Um, and I even have Obama's book.
Like his biography.
uh, yeah, sort of a biography. Yeah, and
Hmm.
I've been reading that. So, but it's the ideas in there are very lofty. Very lofty ideals, and I'm not sure that they are so easily applicable in the Singapore context. Of course, one of my favorites, of course, would be all the biographies by Lee Kuan Yew.
Lee Kuan
I
Yew.
I am truly amazed by what he has built. He's at the same time he's practical and he's also idealistic at the same time.
Hmm.
And A lot of the things that he says still resonates with me. And hard truths and things like that. I think his books are great learning material for the younger generation. Yeah.
And would you say like biographies for Lee Kuan Yew, like would that be good for people that are want to do entrepreneurship or doing business as well? Because I think about it also, like Lee Kuan Yew is kind of the ultimate entrepreneur. He built the country, right? Country is technically an organization, the
Yeah,
ultimate organization.
because he runs it in a way, he runs it like a business, right? Singapore Inc.
Yes,
We always refer to
Singapore
it as
Inc.
Singapore Inc., right? So as a business, if you look at Singapore as a business, it has done tremendously well for itself.
Yes.
We are much financially speaking, we are in a much better position today than we were when we were first founded, right? So many years ago. At that point in time, I think you really had to bootstrap everything, right?
Bootstrap.
Ministers had
So
to,
interesting the way you say bootstrap. Bootstrap the country.
they had to bootstrap the country,
Yeah,
right?
but it's
Because
true, it's true.
we had no
Yeah, yeah.
money. We had no money at that point in time. So,
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely a good read, right? People don't think like Lee Kuan Yew biography, but actually it's a good, good case
it,
study.
in a way, it's a good book on entrepreneurship.
Yeah,
In
entrepreneurship.
a way, yeah.
Mm. And this leads me like to the second last question, which is if you could only give one advice to somebody that wants to let's say he's like your younger self, right? Maybe some young lawyer that eventually wants to start his own law practice, or it can even be like anyone, right? Anybody that's in a job that wants to start his own thing. Like what advice would you give if you could only like give like just one?
Oh, I, I'm going to repeat what I already said, which is that
Oh,
you have to look at the long game. You have
long
to be
game.
prepared to look at the long game, right? And you got to have patience because
How long is long? 5 years,
um,
10 years, 20 years?
maybe longer than that. Yeah,
Longer than 20 years. Wow, okay.
yeah,
That's really long. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Oh,
yeah. It
definitely.
depends on where you start off. I mean, if you're starting in your 50s, it's different from when you started in your 30s.
Let's say for somebody that is maybe fresh grad, 25 years old, let's say.
Yeah,
Mid
yeah.
20s, let's say, for example.
No, I mean, if you're a fresh grad, I firstly, under the current legal system that we have, the current laws, you cannot go and open up your own law firm just like that as a fresh grad.
Oh, you can't even
We can't anymore. Yeah, you have
oh.
rules against that. You have to have some level of experience in running a law practice before you're allowed to open up your own practice. So it's no longer possible, and which I think is a good thing as well because you really need to understand this business and attain some level of experience and expertise before you decide that you want to do this. I think that's quite important.
Mm, understand. No, I did not know that. Like that's very interesting.
Mm.
So maybe like you can only start when you're like 30, maybe or 5 years practicing law. Is that how it works?
Yeah, there's a minimum number of years of legal experience that you have to accumulate before you can then apply because it is a regulated industry. It's not
Yeah.
like you can just go and open up a law firm like that. You need to have permission from the authorities first. You have to have approvals and things like that. Yeah, it's different from
Yeah.
say just a normal startup company, right? A normal tech startup company, you just have to have a great idea and
Yeah.
you need to have financial backers who gonna back you.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we have come to the end of this interview. So for all the listeners or readers, like where can they go